I first read the entire shlokas because it's beautiful to read the whole thing and then we will see. Soham ajanma shuddhanam apalodaya karmanam asamudra kshitishanam anakarata vartmanam yata vidihutagninam yata kamarchitarthinam yata paradhadandanam yata kala prabodhinam tyagaya sambrtartanam satyayamita bhashinam yashase vijigishunam prajayai grihametinam saishavebhyasta vidyanam yauvane vishayaishinam vardake munivrittinam yogenante tanutyajam ragunam anmayam vakshe tanuvag vibhavopi sana tadgunai karnamagatya chapalaya prachoditah. These are beautiful description of Raghuvamsha. What is Raghuvamsha, on which I have taken courage to write a kavya. Kalidasa's initial slokas are very interesting. His humility is, a thing. He says, Soham, that Saha Aham, you have to take it to the end. That such a person like me is in the previous slokas. Surya Prabhu Vamsa, Alpa Vishayaha Matihi. So, what is this Surya Vamsha? What kind of a brain do I have? Titirshuhu dustaram mohat udupena sagaram. Like taking a small little raft, I am trying to cross a huge ocean. Such a person like me, the Soham is connected to that. Sa aham ragunam anvayam vakshe. That such a person like me has set on a journey of talking about ragunam anvayam vakshe. About their race. Why? Because look at what is this race that is in between these shlokas. So what is it saying? It's saying Ajanma Shuddhana. There are 16 attributes of Raghuvamsha here. There are 16 attributes here. Each pada in this padya, each pada is one attribute of Raghuvamsha. So the first quarter says Ajanma Shuddhana. What are these Raghuvamsha people? From in Sanskrit means from. Two also you can use Himalayam, Kanyakumari, Bharata Desham. Is used both for from and to. Panchamyam Bhaktyam, Prayoga. So here means from the beginning. From the very beginning, Janma Shuddhanam. From their very birth, they are nothing but embodiment of purity. What is this purity? With pure samskaras they come. That's how we have to understand. Janma Shuddhanam. Apalode karmanam. Palasya udayam bhavitu tavat paryantam aham karyam karishyami. I will not give up halfway. Until the fructification of the result, I will be engaged in the work. So, pala udaya paryantam karmana. Apalode karmana. This is the race I am talking about. Samudra kshitishanam. The land which is covered up to the ocean, they are the emperors of that. So their Ishitum, okay, Aishwarya Bhava, their lordship, okay. Anaka Ratavartmanam, their chariot has gone up to heaven, which means they have that sphere of influence. It's like their territory. That's what it means. Anaka Ratavartmanam, their Rata has treaded up to the heaven. Raghu was a great king actually. There are some stories. This time in our, Navaratri also we kept that story actually, if you remember. That Raghu, all that we kept that. That kind of a people we are talking about. Then, Yata Vidhi Hutagninam. They do their Shauta Karyas as per the Vedic things. Hota is, Huta is, doing this thing. Yajnas. Yata Vidhi Hutagninam. They maintain fire and do oblations as per the Shrauta Karya, which means they are the great believers of the Shrauta Smarta Karyas. That's what it means. Yatha Vidhi Hutagninam, Yatha Kama Archita, Yatha Kama Archita Artinam. A person comes and asks them, their Kamasya Anugunam Tasya Artam Tasya Dhanam Dadati. They will satisfy them in the way they have to be satisfied. Right? Yata Kamarchita Artina. So as they have to be given to the extent of the desire which is rightful, they will give. That is their, danasya, bhavaha. Yata aparada dandanam. They are very good administrators. Aparada dandanam essentially means they are absolutely very good in administration. Yata aparada dandanam, yata kala prabodhinam. So there are two meanings for it. They are early risers, right? That is one way to think. Which second thing you can say is at the appropriate time they become alert. They have a high sense of alertness. So you have to wake up to situations at an appropriate time. Yata kala prabodhina. You have to wake up. So it's again a great sense of administration, wisdom, and all that we can say. Yata kala prabodhina. Yeah, rise to the occasion. No, wake up to the reality. The tatpadartha you should get. Otherwise, you have to get the right thing, no? At the right time. You have to wake up to the reality. Like that. Tyagaya sambruta arthanam. They have accumulated a lot of riches. For what? Just like that, they will be able to do tyaga. The idea of acquiring riches is to give away. That aparigraha must go coexist with dana sampadana. Otherwise, dana sampadana can create the biggest evil for us. Whereas, if dana sampadana goes with aparigraha, greatest good can be done to the humanity. We should be able to earn a lot and we should be able to very generously give. That is a winning combination. If you miss one and you have the other, it is a hopeless combination. It can create a lot of evil in our samskaras. I'm really telling you. We don't have to have sankocha and earning. If God gives us an opportunity, we must be able to earn, but we must be able to give. That's a great lokasangraha. That's why he says, Tyagaya Sambrita Arthanam, Satyaya Mitabashinam. They are mitabashis. They speak very little, but they speak truth. They don't chatter. They speak little, but they speak truth. Satyaya Mitabashinam. They speak less for the sake of truth. In fact, Mitabhashana is the first lakshana of speaking Satya. Think about it. If we talk too much, Asatya will come very soon. First ground rule for Satya is Mitabhasha. If we can speak less, the chances of us speaking truth is very high. That's why it is very important. Satyaya Mitabhashinam. Yashase Vijagishu Nam. Jigishuhu. Jetum Ichati iti Jigishuhu. They want to win. They are desirous of winning. Why? Because Yashas is part of a Kshatriya. I want to become famous. If I have to become famous, I have to conquer. I want to win not for ahankara, not for any aggression, but I think as a Kshatriya, that fame is a part of one of the bhushanas of a Kshatriya. Therefore, I should. So, Vijigishuhu. Right? Vijigishuhu, those who want to win, they belong to the, amongst those who want to win, they belong to the category of wanting to win, because to be famous is very important part of being a Kshatriya, not for any other reason. Like that. Yashashe Vijigishunam Prajaye Grihamedinam. They want to marry. Why? Prajatantumma Vyavachetsi. For that reason, as it says in Taittiriya Upanishad. Don't cut this progeny. That is the greatest service you can do to Sanatana Dharma is, continue this. Good people must continue. Definitely 100%. Because that must go. That baton passing must happen. So, Prajaye Grihamedina. That is why they want to be in Grihastha Ashram. Because they know that, Praja Tantum Ma Vyavachesi is a Vedavakya. It's a Shruti. Shruti Adesha. That's why they are doing that. Then it says, Shaishave Abhyasta Vidhan, 4 ashramas. How they so beautifully follow the 4 ashrama dharma. Shaishave Abhyasta Vidyanam. In the younger age, see earlier, it is actually, 19 years, everything is over. 12 years of education, 7th year for a Brahmin, 7th year for a Kshatriya, 12th year for a Vaishya, 16th year, like that. But you add another 12 years to it, everybody will be actually in about 20-22 years, you should be completely acquired. Your one focus in life is only knowledge and acquiring knowledge. Today we want to distract our child with every gadget, every new thing, and then make them so distracting that the time, this is the time, God-given time. I must tell you, whatever I learned up to the age of 19, the Veda that I learned, up to the age of 19, I am able to recite. I learned a lot after that, but I am a Likita party. I recite only with a book. Whereas up to the age of 19, what I learned are all here. Anytime you ask me, I will just start. It will go on and on like switching on the motor. That is our educational system was like that. Garbhashta, you do Upanayana for a Brahmin, 12 years, let that person. Why Brahmin has to do first? Because they have to teach others, capacity building. Brahmin's job is only to teach others, so get them soon into the process. Others can take a little more time because they are the community, they're doing other things. Some does trade, some does taking care and so on. And the syllabus can be accordingly adjusted and so on. Brahmin syllabus must be much higher. If you have to teach, you should know more. No, you should teach. If you teach, you should know more. If not 10 times, you can teach 1/10. All that, that's why all these ages are all meant. They're all a meaning. 12 years of education. So he says, Saishavaye Abhyasta Vidyanam Yavane Vishayoshinam. In Grahasthashrama, enjoy the pleasures of life that are required. Please do that. Material life, family life, everything. Grahasthashram. So he says, Yavane Vishayeshinam, and then Vardhake Muni Vrittinam. The Vritti is like a Muni. Mananashilaha Muni. One who's Maunam Palayati Sahayava Muni. And Maunam Palayati Manane Sada Santi. Mananam is self-reflection. If you have to do self-reflection, you have to shut down all these features first. Only then self-reflection will start. So in the Vardhaka, which is this thing, Vanaprastha, where it is time to self-reflect. We can't be, learning. We have to start self-reflecting, right? Shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nidithyasitavyaha. So, Vardhake Munivrittinam, Yogena, Ante Tanutyajam. They drop their body just like that by pure yoga. Yoga is not this stretching yoga. Yoga is that Aikyata. Jiva, Aishwara, Ishwara, Aikyata is yoga. Yoga yunj is to connect. So, Yogena Ante Tanutyajam. Raghunam Anvayam Vakshe. I want to talk about such a great race. Tanuhu Vag Vibhavopisan. I may not have that kind of a capability to do. Tadgunaihi Karmana, Karnam Agatya. I heard about this great race. Since I heard it, right? Chapalaya Prachodita. I mean, what will happen, I do not know, but I am now ready. I want to talk. So why I brought this? We are talking of a king who belongs to this race. This race is celebrated at such a high level. And we now are talking about a king in that race who died in a particular way. So what are we to learn from here? This is why I brought this. If Raghuvamsha is like that, what is it that we have to learn from Dasharatha's death? What happened to Dasharatha? What are we supposed to learn from that? Do we read it as a story and leave it? Or do we want to ask, what am I to learn from here? There is something which is going on here. So we will spend a little time with this kind of a background. There are a few things which came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind is what we have read is a greatest fall of the greatest emperor. What do you say is the greatest emperor? Read the first 4 sargas of Ayodhya Kandam. You don't have to go anywhere. We read it. Look at the first 4 sargas of Ayodhya Kandam. Dasharatha was a great emperor. The whole, when he called people and said, what should I do going forward? See the description of Dasharatha there. Dasharatha is also there, but look at the first 4 sargas. He is no doubt the greatest emperor. No doubt he had the greatest fall. It is Patala, it is a bottomless pit for him now. That's where he has reached now. The way he has passed, you just see, we have been seeing this Ayodhya Kanda from the beginning. So, greatest fall of the greatest emperor. So, the question that arises is, why would the greatest person will have a greatest fall? We need to inquire that rather than just stopping here, reading the story. Should ask, why would the greatest fall can happen to a greatest person? That brings a few things which we saw in this Ayodhya Kand. See, emotions, likes and dislikes of an individual is there. Question is, how much of that must come into your way of living? That is a crucial question. Raga, Dvesha, the Shadvargaha will be there. The message that we are getting out of Dasharatha's death is how much you should let it overpower you. Because his first thing is the lust overpowered him and he gave Kaikeyi the Vara. At his young age, he did that when he was relatively younger. So these likes, dislikes and emotions that we have, we need to ask how much of that should come in the way and what is the impact of it. This story is telling that to us as one of the stories. Because this will have a clear effect on the life trajectory of every one of us. You know, we have too much of this like, dislike, too much of this raga, dvesha, too much of, very opinionated things. That will carry us in a particular trajectory of life. And that brings along with it a whole lot of things. It will bring a lot of things along with that. So how are you going to handle that? He did 2 or 3 small little wrongs which boomerang like anything to him. He brought him to this level. The most important on that is giving into Kaikeyi when he was young, which boomeranged him in a big way. Second most important thing is the impact of all these on everybody's final moments. It will happen. If we just let this life to go on in its own way and getting subjected to all these emotions and the place of the mind and all that, and if we lead a life like that, it is actually a driverless car. It's completely remote controlled by the few things which are all distractions and passions, and all those will start guiding our life, and that will take us to that final destiny of this Janma. See, finally that's where he landed. There would have been 1,000 ways Dasharatha's end could have come. His end came out of what he did with Kaikeyi, which all came back to him finally. So I think all these have a great impact in everybody's life is one message. And that is precisely why the importance of ashrama dharma. That's why Saishave Abhyasta Vidyanam, Yavane Vishayeshinam, all that is fine. But you have to graduate to the next. You have to go to the next. Vardhake Muni Vrittinam, that purity of thought, if that mid-course correction in the trajectory does not happen, this destination is doomed. Mid-course correction, if it doesn't happen, we have a problem. That is the meaning behind all these ashram. That's why we have this Varnashrama Dharma is such a beautiful concept which has been completely misunderstood and misquoted and all that. Varnashrama is a beautiful 2 dimension for every individual. One dimension says, what will you do in your Vyavahara? Another dimension says, what will you do in your Paramarthika? You have to travel on both. Who said you should travel? Today we are told you travel only in making money. That's the end of the story. Find out how to make money, money again and money, retire, have second job, have third job, be a consultant, be a consultant's consultant. This is all we are told. In Vyavahara only we are focusing. The Varnashrama is a 2-dimensional matrix. If you take an individual, that individual must travel in this axis and in this axis, which means he should travel diagonally. He cannot travel like this. He cannot travel like this also. It should be diagonally. That's a nice evolution. 45 degrees slope. 45, I don't know the slope. 45 may be very ideal and things like that. But the point is, in Vyavahara you do. Depending upon your skill, depending upon your guna, chaturvanyamaya system, guna karma vibhaga, we bring our own basket of our skills and capabilities and all that. Samaja needs all kinds of things. Do it there. But while doing that, you evolve yourself. Vyavahara is for the outside world. What are you doing for yourself? That is what is the ashrama dharma. If people are not able to travel on the ashrama dharma, they will be stuck. They will find a vacuum suddenly. They will not even share with anyone because they are too old to share that. I mean, We go through that kind of a problem. That is why the ashrama dharma has a profound impact on an individual. So we all read it as a theory, and then everybody, so if you could get a, put a quiz, people may answer what are the 4 ashrama dharmas. But if we ask what is the tatparya, how serious we have to imbibe it, should we at all imbibe it? Again, Vanaprasad doesn't mean we have to, forests are disappearing. We don't really mean forests. I think we have to take the tatparya of the ashrama. That's why he says, Vardake Munivrittinam. Your vritti must be like a muni. You be in your room, in your house only. But munivritti. That's why the ashrama dharma is very important. Otherwise, the final trajectory is very, very problematic. So all these are bringing to this squarely to this concept that the art of dying is more important than art of living. It's very important. Because that is the baton passing for the next janma. And we need the grace of the Lord. With all these, you see, Dasharatha, despite I said all these, the imagery of Rama was anchored deeply in him. Now, the final moments, what will come to our mind is what we keep closest to our heart. So some people have been all along worried about stock market. I lost this, day trading, ICICI direct. When he dies, I think probably share market prices will run in his mind. Not Lord, not Shiva or anything. So that is why there is a lot of emphasis. Ajamelo, Pakyana and all that in Bhagavata, they are all ridiculed without understanding. He cannot call his son, they're all very figuratively told. Unless you have this thinking in Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha Mayatpita Mano Buddhi Mameva Yeseshi Asamshaya. Chapter 8, Krishna says. That is why you think about me all the time. Because that will come to you. That in chapter 8, there are shlokas on art of dying. Recently, I am writing about it and sending also to you a few of them. Right? So I want to bring a few shlokas because this is a subject which is covered a great deal in many of our great sons. So I want to take 2 shlokas from Mukundamala and 2 shlokas from Bhagavad Gita to show this is a serious issue for us. So with all this Dasharatha's journey, we can only learn this. We should come here rather than looking at other things. So this is the 2 shlokas. Diviva bhuviva mamastu vaso narakeva narakantaka prakamam avadhirita sharadhara vindau charanau te marane pi chintayani. Some people say chintayami, chintayani. Chintayani is I wish I could think. Chintayami means I think. It's a structural Vyakarana form. Okay. Anyway, so he says Diviva bhuviva mamastu vasaha. Doesn't matter where I am. I am here or I am the, Devaloka or here. That's not the issue. It is not the place. Narakeva. Let me be Naraka also. Narakantaka prakamam is the adjective for Krishna. He desired the end of Narakashra. Narakantaka prakamam. Huh? He says, Avadhirita Sharadhara Vindau Charanau. The feet of the Lord, Charanau, is like what? Avadhirita Sharadhara Vindo. The blossoming, the tender blossoming lotus petals, like your feet. I must think that Maranepi Chintayani. Te Sharadhara Vindo. Te avadhirita sharadhara vindo charanau marane api chintayani or chintayami, whatever you want to say. This is what Kulasekara Alvar says in Mukundamala. Says, I must remember you. If I have to remember you at the 11th hour, that practice has to happen. Otherwise, it will not come in the 11th hour. How will it come at the 11th hour? Only in the 11th hour that will come, which you are engaging your mind all the time. That's why he said, if you are worried about stock market will come. If you are worried about a particular son or a daughter, your daughter and son will come. And those worries will come more than the daughter and the son. So how do we do the Chitta Shuddhi and then focus our attention towards the Lord is a very important thing. That's why our sons always talk about it. So that's what he says. Look at the next shloka. That's also very interesting. Krishna Todiya Pada Pankaja Pancharantah Adyaiva me Vishatu Manasaham Rajahamsaha prana prayana samaye kapavada pittau kantavarodhana vidau smaranam kutaste. He says, prana prayana samaye, when the jiva is leaving this body, prayana has started. Kasya prayana? Pranasya prayana. Prana prayana samaye, what will happen? He says there will be a traffic jam. Kapavada pitta in Kanta. Kanta, Kantavara, Kantavarodhana vidau. There is this, all these are blocking. There is a traffic jam of Kapha, Vada and Pitta. In other words, what it means is the three doshas will go out of balance. That's how happens finally. When the three doshas go out of balance, it chokes you. Looks like that is what it is. It chokes you. It completely chokes you. He says, when such a big thing happening, smaranam kutaste. How am I going to remember you at that point in time? Because I am struggling with another problem. Breathlessness, this will overpower my mind. He says, pranaprayana samaye kapavada pittaihi kantavarodhanam vadana vidau, avarodhana vidau, kanta avarodhana vidau, smaranam kutaste. Therefore, so what is he saying? I will do the prayer today itself. You come and sit in my heart today. My only prayer is you come and my hridaya kuvare, you come and sit. Adyaiva. Krishna, Tvadiya pada pankaja pancharantaha. This is like your nest. This is like your, why it is a nest? This manasa is the nest. Why? You are a Rajahamsa. You are a Rajahamsa, you need a nest. That nest is my manas. Right? So, Adyaiva me vishatu. You enter into my manas or into my hridaya today itself. And the trick here is, in the first thing he said, you remember that at the time of your death. Now he is saying, I know that I cannot remember you at the time of the death. So by saying you come now, which means I will, if you come into my hridaya mandala, that means that thought has started right away. So I will definitely remember at the time of my passing away. So that is what Mukundamala says. So this is the very idea, you will find, in Shivananda Lahiri also you find very similar shlokas. That this is all that, so the art of dying is very, very important. Chapter 8, Krishna so beautifully says, how will you should ideally die. And also he has said, look at this. Kavim Purana Manushasitaram Anoraniya Samanusmaredhya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasaparastat Prayana Kale Manasachalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bruvor Madhye Pranamavashya Samyak Satam Param Purusham Upaiti Divyam. Prayana Kale Manasa Achalena, without the wavering of the mind must be settled. And how will it happen? Bhaktya Yuktaha. It will happen only out of bhakti, otherwise it's not going to happen. And Yoga Balena, that yoga will give you, strengthen your bhakti. And out of that bhakti, with all that, your manas chanchalata will go even at the prayana kale, prana prayana kale. Okay? If you are able to reach that, what can you do? If you are able to reach that, I will tell you what to do, he says. He says, Bruvor Madhye, between the two Bruvor Madhye Pranam Avesh, Samyak Aveshya, hold your breath here, between the two. Satam Param, Pranam Avesh, Aveshya, what you should do, that is the first two lines. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram, Anoho Anyanam, Samanusmaredhya. He is smaller than the atom, smallest than the atom, right? Sarvasya Dataram. He is the supporter and of the everything. Achintya Rupam. Because you can't meditate him on a very Nama Rupa. He is beyond all that. Achintya Rupam. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Beyond this zone of darkness, he is nothing but embodiment of brightness. Imagine that imagery. take that imagery of the Lord and put it Bhror Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. That's what Krishna is saying in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. If you do that, you will reach unto him. Tam param purusham upaiti divyam. Divyam purusham param upaiti. Guaranteed you will reach unto him. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So I think the whole effort that we need to understand from this whole episode is, I think greatest person can have a greatest fall if he, for unknown reasons, for all that, he is subjugated to these emotional things and so on. And the art of dying is far more important than art of living. Wherever you read, you will find it.